When I was a little kid, Adventure Time was Queen, was the show that I looked forward to. Reruns and every new episode. And it earned that spot because I was looking forward to any TV show to kind of fill the void in my life. And it was my top two favorites were Adventure Time and The Misadventures of Flapjack. What and just what I remember from my experience was that feeling that I want something else to come on. Oh, Flapjack was ending too. Flapjack ended, and that was like devastating. Like, what fucking good cartoons am I gonna watch? I need more new good cartoons to watch to fill the void. And I had my eye on Steven Universe to be a new cartoon for me to watch and obsess over and look forward to. And like in the know, like dedicated Adventure Time watchers would maybe know that the best songs in Adventure Time were written by Rebecca Sugar. That like songs that like made episodes, like such like meaningful, interesting, characterized songs. So Steven Universe kind of had that leg in the door for some viewers of like spiritual successor to Adventure Time. Could this, could this be it? Could this be a new great show? And I stopped watching after like the first 6 or 7 episodes of Steven Universe. I dropped it for a while. that it just I couldn't tell if it was gonna be super good or not. I was like I was getting a bit impatient, and I stopped watching for a little while. And so purely conjecturally from my personal experience with it, I would describe Steven Universe as having this start that was holding a lot of its cards still going into it, as like, it turns out that it was just taking its time to get its narrative hooks into the viewers who are giving it this chance to potentially grow into a top show. And so it didn't start out with a huge fandom, but it definitely got there eventually. And I think this particular blend of like a slow start, that takes its time, it's not in a hurry to get to the good stuff. It's letting the viewer get invested in the world and ask these questions themselves over and over again, edging the viewer until they're so desperate for answers that then answers start coming, and it's like, whoa, and we're having this like communal experience that like everybody who's into the show was waiting for answers. So every new episode has this exciting energy about it of like, let's pick it apart, let's look for clues, let's get some answers. It was very much a real-time fandom experience. And 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 then at some point there was a turning point at which the fandom became so large and excited and talkative that most new people, that there was such a high opportunity for people's first experience of the show to not be the show, to not be that they were willingly wanting to watch the show. Their first experience with it was seeing the fandom, seeing people talk about it, having people talk to you about it, or talk about it where you can see it. So it's like you're I guess people can't really help but judge something off of the experiences that they have because of it. So as a consequence of the show existing and getting people so deeply invested in it, suddenly these people were the face of the show, and I think a lot of people, and then like, and I'm not saying that like that's fair or unfair. I'm just saying I think that's kind of what happened, to where, and like, even like the experience of someone who maybe hears about how good someone thinks it is, that they're like talking about all these things that are like these late game questions and theories and excitement, and then you start watching the show from the beginning and you're like, okay, it is just a kids show then. I don't know why people are so excited about it. And it's like, yeah, all right, all right. But so Steven Universe is a cartoon from 2013 to 2019 that is a musical adventure, songs by Rebecca Sugar. So they're good. They're fun to listen to. They progress the plot, and the emotional narrative of it is taken so seriously, and they address ambitious topics with their stories and themes, and well, I don't have to give, that's just my opinion. I think it's ambitious. I think it's exciting and fun for narratives to include difficult concepts that people are still arguing about, and and undeniably a huge theme of Steven Universe from start to finish is redemption. You see it with, I mean, you see it from the beginning. You see it in Steven, that he just wants to redeem everything. Even the big monster from episode 1, he wants to redeem it. Peridot gets her fucking redemption arc. She becomes one of the main characters. Um, like it becomes clear, like, that we're playing in a space of asking, what does redemption look like? What and and then kind of unfortunately, I don't know if you know this, Steven Universe was supposed to be longer. They got kind of rushed to the ending, and if I'm remembering right, I think it's because they fought so hard for the gay wedding to be depicted on screen that they were suddenly getting really rushed into saying, like, okay, you guys get one more season, basically. And they wanted to finish telling the story they were telling, so it got condensed, like you're going through warp speed, and something horrifying happens where the big bads of the series are getting redeemed left and right. And I personally, if you want to know my opinion, ask me about it. So I'm a certified Homestuck, and at the I mean, yeah. So one of my favorite things that a piece of media can do is to take a nebulous literary concept and make it literally happen in the story, make it a literal thing in the story. And Homestuck has a clock in it. Let me finish. There's You don't have to let me finish. Um so why do I want to talk about Homestuck? There's fucking Homestuck depicts a lot of character deaths. And characters don't just die once. There are mechanisms in the story for revival and for having multiple lives, or for having multiple chances, multiple timelines. There's time travel, there's there's as many loopholes as a fictional story can cram in to make death temporary, to make it so that it doesn't always stick. And as a reader, you start to get used to this feeling that if a character is actually going to die for good, it's probably going to have some weight to it. It's gotta be in a meaningful moment. Their death should mean something. And that's the nebulous literary concept that we're working with here, which is that you keep an eye out for the circumstances surrounding a character's death to try and decide, do I think this was a real character death, or is it going to get retconned? And Homestuck makes that concept written into the text as a literal judgment that gets made when certain characters who have achieved godhood die. They don't have full immortality, they have conditional immortality that is judged by, as long as it's meaningless. They can like trip and get stabbed and die and then revive, because who the fuck cares? The only way that they can die and have it stick is if their death is deemed just or heroic. If it's a just death, that means that you were doing evil things and somebody killed you to stop you from doing more evil. You have been stopped, your death was meaningful, you were fighting for a cause, an evil cause, and you were stopped. Or if your death is heroic, then you were striving to do something heroic, or your death was heroic in nature, that you were doing something meaningful and purposeful, and in the path of doing that you died, and so your death will actually stick. So there's a clock in Homestuck, and the clock is the physical embodiment of that. The clock is either the thing that determines whether your death was heroic or just, or it's just the thing reading like a barometer reading whether or not it was heroic or just. It's unclear which thing the clock is doing, but that's what it's doing. And so that's all of the meaning that is imbued with this clock, is this concept of judgment and revival and this clock appears in the original pilot to Hazbin Hotel that was uploaded to YouTube. It's right there. Nifty is cleaning it.
Oh my gosh, this is awful! Nope.
Let me check my notes. Okay, so I'm 4 freaks in a trench coat who are all going to hell for different reasons. So when I first watched the pilot for Hazbin Hotel, however many years ago, it felt like Charlie was fighting for me. I'm hooked. I'm immediately in love with the idea. So these are just my personal religious beliefs. I tend to view religion as a story, as a fiction, but that doesn't make it less meaningful or impactful. And to me, something that's always mattered to me as a concept is that people should feel allowed to continue the story and to continue the conversation, the cycle of critique and creation, as the process of how things get canonized. And so maybe this sounds really silly, but I love that Hazbin Hotel, premise-wise, like, comes out saying, hey, let's further the conversation. Let's not let the story end where it currently ends if people are unhappy with it. If there's places to go, if there's questions to be asked. And they harness also the huge fucking ball of energy that is fandom, that is, and the whole show is fandom bait. Everyone knows this. But I think what people miss is that it does it with such a purpose and such intention that it has meanings it would like to convey, and it has an audience in mind for who could use a little bit of furthering of the conversation. In particular, I'm thinking of redemption as a concept that Steven Universe left on everyone's tongues. Of fucking, like, people were saying, like, does White Diamond deserve to be redeemed? And I think I think people who aren't religious are asking this question. It's because religion, like, can serve as a framework for how people discuss morals and judgment, and a lot of people who even aren't religious seem to, like, fall into this trap of trying to say, I get to judge who's worthy of redemption. I get to judge who can change and can live their life after doing wrong things. So these characters, like, Hazbin Hotel just does such a job of making it a literal part of the show's lore, to depict the concept of redemption, and not playing in the realm necessarily of, yes, redemption is real and exists, and these are the terms that it should be defined by, but rather presenting it so that it can be questioned and discussed and critiqued of who gets to decide, like, who sits in the high chairs of judgment. And I'll tell you who. Tumblr gets to decide. Tumblr gets to decide if a character gets to be redeemed or not. We put it into the discourse machine. We decide. We witness their actions. We pick it apart. Every scene, every line of dialogue, whether their redemption was depicted accurately, or whether it was deserved, or whether it's, like, because, like, the show thinks it gets the final say, with its canon ending of, oh, this character got redeemed and now they're all good and everyone gets along with them. Yippee. But then fandom gets to be like, actually, you forgot about that character is going to hell. That character doesn't deserve redemption. So I really I really enjoy Hazbin Hotel. The hell that is depicted. So imagine that there are these places that have intense mythological energy surrounding them, to where if you talk about hell, you're talking about a place that needs to have these, like, inherent things, like this fear that it's a horrible place, that bad things happen to all who enter, and all who enter are bad. And there's another place that is the good place, where good things happen, and the people within it determine what is good and what's bad, and they judge what is good and what is bad. And to just depict those not as nebulous concepts, but as just places, just places with people in them, then you just get to apply narrative logic to these concepts, to the concept that there's a place where people should go to suffer eternally, and that whatever happens to them, they deserve it because they're already there in the bad place, and that whoever's in the good place has been deemed, right in whatever they do, that they can do no wrong because they're in the good place. So heaven is Tumblr, and 4chan is hell in Hazbin Hotel. 4chan is 1,000,000% hell. Hell is 4chan. 12,000, 100,000, million, billion%. 4chan is hell. It's just where you go because nowhere else allows the raunchiest, the most unethical, the most illegal before it would get, above the line of not being removed from the internet, but it's where you go if there's discussion to be had about, like, fetishes and kinks and gore and war and just all of the, like, it gained this mythological reputation that if you step in 4chan, like, even just not posting, maybe this is, just me, but, like, as a kid, there was such bad vibes coming off of 4chan. I thought that if I just even visited there without posting, I was kind of scared that I would get doxxed somehow. That like just my like lurking there would be enough to put a target on my back. But cards on the table, I lurked on 4chan kind of regularly for a few years in my teens, and like I'm I never really regret that time of like I mean, like fuck, like shit. If you want to know how I feel about 4chan, just watch Hazbin Hotel. It's how Charlie talks about hell. You love to see people being people. Oh, even if it's terrible sometimes. Even if they're terrible sometimes. So, my thoughts. What's my Hazbin Hotel theory? There is none. I tricked you. I tricked you. I have no theory. I've got nothing to share. I just wanted to talk about my special interests, and I tricked you into listening. Um, no, what else though? So there's kind of a thing about making a show that is comparable to a magician doing tricks on a stage, that you want the twists and reveals to be plotted out in advance so that they are, connected to the story, and that they make sense, and that an astute viewer might be able to put those pieces together and figure something out in advance. But when you're working in the scale of a show with an actual fandom with eyes on it, that there's you have to do things to keep people's attention in one place while something else is happening, that turns out to be the actual magic that makes the trick work, and I won't say the example I'm thinking of because it's spoilers, but you already know. I think there's a character who you think is like they put him front and center the whole time. Angel Dust. They're like, keep your eye on Angel Dust. Is he gonna get redeemed? Is he gonna not get redeemed? And so he's there. So there's that. I think that's funny. I think that's why the twist at the end of season 1 worked so well. And so there's a lot of power and genuine power given to the concept of deals, of contracts, and we see that depicted in an overblown, visually, audibly, like obvious way when Alistair is striking a deal. Like the lights all go different. There's this aura. There's wind swirling around. There's energy to it, and that I think that keeps you a little bit off guard for when another deal is happening in another place that maybe doesn't have all of the show offiness of it, but I think there is greater significance to the scene where Adam writes up the rules for redemption. Hear me out. Like, it takes place in court, witnessed by the Princess of Hell and the High Seraphim, written by the first man. It's overseen by all of them. They all seem to agree to the terms, and then they watch Angel Dust to see if he fits the rules of the agreement that they all seem to have agreed upon in this extremely high setting. I think there's significance to this. I think I don't know. Do I think maybe literally, like, I don't know. There's much to think about. Like how much of the concept of what gets you into heaven is not just a contract, an agreement, a deal made by people in a position to make such decisions. Did I have anything else really? No, I think Adam's deal as like, oh yes, I do. Just the fact that if this does turn out to be more significant, is that when Sarah says,
It's not as simple as you think. Not everything is spelled in ink.
it just makes the line more ironic that like the show loves saying how wrong Sarah is at every turn, and so like to just make this line so literally wrong right in front of her right when she's singing it would be really funny to me. So get owned, Sarah, I guess, is the Adam. Also, Adam redemption arc, inevitable, fucking inevitable. Like if the audience of your show is meant to be anyone and everyone, then you have all these characters that fulfill a diverse rainbow of roles. And then you have Adam, who's like a magnet for shitty guys. And like, if a shitty guy wants to watch a cartoon, like, you know, sure, like maybe he should be allowed to find something of himself in it. And for a show like Hazbin Hotel to come in with the premise of everyone can be redeemed, you know, like like the pilot makes it quite clear that they are not talking out their butt when they say everyone. They're talking about people who are already in hell. Some fucked up people. So for the show to then go out of its way to depict a shitty guy, like your most average shitty guy ever, he's just some guy. And then to say, well, not you. You're not welcome in our show. You suck, shitty guy. Get out of our show. If you see a shitty guy in real life, you should stab them and get rid of them. They're gone. We don't have room for that. You know, like everyone can be redeemed. Everyone's great, except, you know, this one's got to go. This one's just, we're gonna kill him off first season and never think about him ever again, because some problems are too complicated. Because some people are too bad to be redeemed. I don't think that's where the show is going. I think 1,000,000% Adam is coming back as a sinner, as a hell fallen angel, as a being of hell, and I look forward to it greatly. Um, shit, I don't think I think that's pretty much everything. I, I've been reading your comments. Thank you for being so nice to me. And I promise to not let all these eyes on me change me. Nah, it'll change me. I'm changing. It's it's hard not to. I mean, like shit. To have one of my art projects be getting like some views is like, I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty excited about it. If this is your first time on my channel, watch my other videos. They're normal. Nothing will happen to you. And oh, and I don't know. I don't know anything. So there's that. Damn, I really got to the end of this. I think that's everything I wanted to say. Let me just look at my notes again. I like that Hazbin Hotel continues the story of heaven and hell, continuing the conversation. I'm all about that. Portraying nebulous literary concepts as literal things within the show. Steven Universe gets criticized as a fandom before it's criticized as a show. Oh yeah, I meant to imply that like Hazbin Hotel, like Steven Universe at least got to air before the discourse machine started doing its thing. Hazbin Hotel had to endure like 6 years of it before it could even come out. And it's so hard to talk to people about the show without just being met with like years of built-in being like, you really, like, the show sucks. Haven't you heard how much the creators suck? Haven't you heard how much the fandom sucks? And it's like, listen, buddy, I suck. That said, I mean, please do be critical of shows, even if I like them. I am also critical of things that I like, because I think you don't do it any favors by not participating with it fully honestly, you know? Like, all right. Phew. Fuck. So, yeah, no, we just gotta go. I gotta go. I don't know how to end this video. Um, bye. Bye bye. Also, I think it's funny that Nifty really likes bad boys, and she's the one who killed Adam, because he's a bad boy, and she didn't know. She snuck up on him from behind. She didn't know he was a bad boy. His entire unit of exorcists are all girls. Why would she think he was a boy, let alone a bad boy? He was a bad boy, and she killed him. She wouldn't have killed him if she knew. I bet she might have hesitated if she could have known that he was just a bad boy. But instead, but you know that he was, and the fact that it happens just as his mask gets broken, and that the audience, see, oh, he's not just an angel, he's just a boy. He's just a bad boy. And then Nifty comes up from behind and kills him, just as we're having this feeling of like, oh, maybe he could be redeemed, maybe we could save him, maybe he's just a bad boy who needs a helping hand. And and it's just so funny that Nifty killed him. She loves bad boys. This is the foreshadowing.